Hey guys, so yesterday was my 7 years on testosterone, and I don't have a big fancy flashy video to offer everyone, um, but I did want to talk about some reflections that I have now that I'm at what I had deemed the year that my transition would be complete. 7 years was in my head, and so here I am, and I do feel like my transition is complete. I feel like it has been for a while, honestly. Um, and so I wanted to talk a little bit about my thoughts on my transition and my life and why I think my transition was a success. Um, and I'll say right now that this probably isn't going to be a popular video um, because, people, including myself, humans, we like excuses. They feel good a lot of the time because they're easy. They let us off the hook. We can blame things on people other than ourselves and not be at fault. The problem is that excuses don't necessarily reflect what's really going on, and they don't give you. You're not going to live up to your full potential if you live your life on excuses. And so, what I wanted to talk about is self-sufficiency, and specifically self-sufficiency with your emotional well-being within the schema of transition. Um, I know that transition is incredibly hard, and it's super easy to say things like, "I can't transition if my family disowns me," or one that I've said is, "I can't transition if it means my marriage will end." That's one that I was holding on to for a while. Or I can't transition because I could lose my job, or a million other excuses. But the thing of it is if we rely on other people for the strength to transition, and if we rely on other people to hold us up emotionally so we can transition, then the foundation that we're building is incredibly shaky. Our transition is is our business, and it is each person's responsibility to handle their emotions in their transition. While it's absolutely not fair that some of us are born in a way that, by its nature, gives us a harder path in life. It's not fair, and yet it is still our path to walk. And it's not fair of us to expect our partners or our families, unless we're a child, that's a different situation. But it's not fair of us to expect people to emotionally hold us up and emotionally support our transition. Throughout the years that I've been making these videos, so many people have messaged me or talked to me in various ways saying, like, you're so lucky you have, all this support of your family and blah, blah, blah. And, I wish I had that support and then I can transition. And, well, first of all, everyone in my family disowned me. I have close to zero contact with anyone in my family. The family I have, I created. And so it's not like I am just oozing with family support. It's actually the opposite. And as for my wife, Tiff, yes, she is supportive. But here's the thing. I never, ever expected her to support me emotionally. Um, that wasn't something fair for me to put on her, especially since she also was going through her own things with my transition. She had her own emotional well-being to care for because it is a huge thing. And it's going to be the same with anyone else in your life. They're going to be going through mental and emotional things surrounding your transition. And it's not fair for you to expect them to hold you up. Now, what I'm not saying is you need to be a pillar of strength and you're going to do this and you're going to do it alone and that's just all there is to it, because that's not how we work. What I'm suggesting is, rather than having the expectation of people holding you up And rather than feeding yourself the message that I can't do this unless people support me, instead say, I can do this even if people don't support me, but any support that is offered, I would gladly take. And if you do things that way, your transition, not only will your transition not feel burdensome to other people, but you also will be creating a foundation of self-sufficiency that will carry you in a number of other ways in your life. You just think about, the whole system of people as a whole in the world. If, imagine us as a network and each person is a separate node connected to a million other people. If each node is depending on each other node to keep them afloat, then one disaster can have a cascading effect and take out everyone. However, if each node is self-sufficient and only relies on the other nodes in situations where it's like a bonus situation like the other node offers, then a disaster isn't going to take down any of the other nodes. Everyone will still be strong. Everyone will still be standing. And so without making this too long and rambling, I just wanted everyone to think about their transition through the lens of being self-sufficient. Because here's the thing. If you're relying on other people to make you strong enough to transition, it's not going to happen, guys. I heard this thing on the internet or saw it somewhere, I don't know where it was, and I wish I had the guy's name so I could cite him correctly, but he said, what other people think of you is none of your business. And I just thought, that is exactly fucking right. What other people think of me is none of my business. It shouldn't affect me. If you are relying on what other people think of you to tell you who you are, then you have some soul searching to do. What matters is what you think of you. What matters is what characteristics you're trying to bring into your life. What matters is whether or not transition feels right to you. And if you rely on someone else to tell you if it's right for you or if you can do this, then you're not putting yourself in a position of strength and power, and you need strength and power to transition, particularly right now, where everything in the political climate is just going, oh man, it's just not going great. You need to keep yourself in a position of self-sufficiency. It's just, it's a life lesson that I've learned many times, and not just emotional self-sufficiency. I've learned lessons in mental self-sufficiency, financial self-sufficiency, relying on other people, even people with the best of intentions, will leave you in spots you don't want to be. Having the love and support of other people is a bonus in your life. It should be a bonus in your life. You don't need people to praise you to feel good about yourself. You need to feel good about yourself from inside. If you're needing someone to tell you that your decisions are right, then you're not coming at life from a position of power. If you're needing someone else's praise and pat on the back in order to know that you're doing good, then you're not coming at life from a position of strength and power. If you take someone's harsh criticism to heart and then define your entire character against that, then you're not coming at life from a position of strength and power. And so my suggestion is to really sit down and think about who you are. Who am I? I'm going to transition, and this is going to be a mountain. This is going to be hard, and I may not have support. I'm not going to expect support. And work on building yourself up. Think about what your defining characteristics are. For instance, when I'm losing myself and having trouble making decisions, I think about what characteristics I want to define my decisions and my person. And I always come back to the same ones. What is important to me? Kindness is important to me. Intelligence is important to me. Empathy is important to me. And integrity is important to me. And so I think about myself and my decision and whatever situation is going on in my life, and I hold it up to the lens of those defining characteristics. And those may not necessarily be things that I'm always emulating, because I'm not. But those characteristics, they're what I want to be. And so hold yourself up against that. Sorry about that, I had to take a phone call. So to just end this video on a quick note, like I said in the beginning, excuses are easy and they're comfortable. I fight against using excuses all the time. But the fact of the matter is you can do this alone. I know that's not the popular opinion, but if you tell yourself that you can do this alone, and if you actively work on being self-sufficient, then the support that does come in will be a bonus. It will be exhilarating. It will be joyful. None of that will happen if you have a mindset of expected support. If you expect support, then every day people are going to let you down. Every day you'll be let down. People can't keep your bucket full. Your job is to keep your bucket full. So be emotionally self-sufficient. And then any support you get, it will be joyful, and you will feel more supported by not expecting support than if you live your life expecting everyone to hold you up. Happy 7 years.